谢谢 Pete. Hi, good morning. So my name is Yachen Wang. I'm from Tencent. And it's a great pleasure and honor for me to be invited here to talk about edge computing. And just now, the previous speakers has mentioned that in the open source, actually now we always talk about edge and edge computing and also edge open source. And I'm very pleased to be here on behalf of Tencent Cloud and to give a brief introduction about the progress and also especially for Tencent in terms of open source and also in edge, what kind of things we have done so far. So when talk about Linux Foundation, well, as we have mentioned, actually we have established a umbrella. So it is an umbrella project. And basically it is to unify the edge computing projects. And 3 years ago, this became a buzzword. Everyone is talking about the architecture for edge computing and also what kind of add-ons we need to have. And also in terms of open source, we began to discuss what kind of open source business need edge computing. And this is the data from the Linux Foundation. So for the non-traditional industries, for instance, like IoT, they need to have the low latency guarantee, for instance, like VR and also VR gaming and also cloud-based gaming, and they all have a demand for the edge computing and also IoT. So we have a lot of different scenarios of application. And Japit has said that we need to think about the different layers of edge, for instance, IoT edge and also enterprise edge and cloud edge. And we need to work from the bottom, from the base, like the hypervisor and also the containerization and also virtualization, and also for the pod service, how to build all of them. So for the Linux Foundation, we have 4 key projects in order to integrate all the edge computing and open source projects and to provide you a kind of a guidance in terms of which technology to choose. So for these 4 projects, well, at the main, well, we have 4, but actually for the LF Edge, it is now more than 4. So we have Arkrino, and it is, the English is called Blueprint. So I can give you an example. Basically, it is focused on scenario how to use open source technology to build a platform for edge computing. And maybe these are existing technology, for instance, QRS and also Kubernetes technology, or the DBDK, and for the existing, to use the existing architecture and also technology. And but it needs to first of all to specify a scenario, and currently it has 11 scenario architecture guidance available. And also we have EVE homemade, home edge, and also EVX. And basically these are for the IoT and also for the home-based scenario, and the other one is more for the IoT scenario, and EVE is more like a operating system for the edge computing. And if you are interested in these 4, you can go to the website and to get more knowledge about it. And for Tencent, what is our focus? Actually, this morning Bert has already talked about it. In terms of the deployment based on containerization and also edge computing in terms of the network side. So we still find that we're still missing some functions. For instance, the unification between cloud and edge. And for Tencent, our focus is more like yours. We're more focused on autonomous driving and also IoT in manufacturing and also in terms of cloud gaming. So we still have some pain points. For instance, we need a larger bandwidth, and 5G can provide a solution. And also we need to have low latency, and also 5G can help us with that as well. And also we need to have an end-to-end architecture, and for instance, to guarantee the low latency. And for all these pain points, in order to solve it, to solve them. We need to get the help from our newest technologies. And for Tencent, we also have the so-called TSEC online platform, and it is the Tencent Smart Edge Connector. It is a connector, and basically to connect carriers and also our edge computing platform, and also to connect our edge cloud and also central cloud. And also here are its features, its functions. So first of all, it's about mobile traffic offloading, and for 5G also it talks about MEC. And in the station, hopefully we can rapidly to divide the traffic, and therefore we need to have this function, the mobile traffic offloading, and also we need to have the network acceleration. So why we need to have acceleration function? For instance, now we have the live streaming module, and therefore we need to have the network acceleration, and also for audience, for game players, we need to have the on-demand acceleration, and therefore how can we very flexibly to change the network? And also the third function is so-called edge traffic forwarding, and in order to guarantee a high performance. And also, for instance, how can we create a very safety environment, a very safety tunnel? And also, we need to have the very high performance data handling. And we need to have a unified access, and in order to have the high efficient forwarding and also load balancing. So everything needs to find a solution under TSEC. And also, apart from mobile network, also we focus on IoT scenarios as well. We hope that TSEC can become a architecture and to provide a unified protocol. And this is about the TSEC. And just now I talked about its functions, and behind it there is a kit in order to realize the function. And for this slide, and we talk about TSEC's position in our network. We are a connector. We need to connect the different network, and also the upper level, that is the cloud structure architecture. And therefore we say that TSEC is a connector. It is a core connector in the whole system. And also for these two charts, you can see clearly how can we enable what kind of technologies to enable such a platform. And Linux Foundation already talked about how can we enable infrastructure, deploy infrastructure, and for instance, virtual machine, and also containerization. And also we need to talk about, for instance, operating system, and also edge containerization. And for TSEC, we are a PaaS service provider for the network level. And just now we talked about the cloud data center, and we are the connector between the carrier, between the vendor, and also ourselves, and also the cloud.
Just now we talked about the edge computing and its open source. And when we look at the TSEC, we hope that we can use a lot of open source technology to build it. So last month, we put forward our proposal to Linux Foundation, that is looking at the scenario of IoT and the scenario of a game. And the two blue points was proposed, and we also will have a lot of the DPDK and the VPP acceleration technology, which are based on the open source development. We also look at the load balance, the offloading, and the blue part technology. When the blueprint was given to Linux Foundation, we also will look at the existing technology. The Linux will tell us what and how to use the open source technology. And we also hope that our open source technology can be upstream to the Linux Foundation to build the real sense of open source. We also look at the architecture's verification, and we work on the TSEC technology on the cloud gaming, and also for looking at the cloud gaming development, and also on the digital technology of the MWC 2019. We also will showcase this technology quickly build the IoT application, and this will help us to build the harmonized coordination between the network and the edge. And we are very glad to meet all of you, and we hope to have a communication with you based on this WeChat open account. And this is about the 5G and IoT open cooperation. In Tencent, we have a ongoing slogan that is connecting everything. We hope that we can be connected with the developers and our partners to build the all-win ecosystem and build the faster development in the edge computing. Thank you very much.